from the vault, high atop the pastoral center of the Diocese of Camden, you're listening to Talking Catholic.
Welcome to Talking Catholic. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I'm Pete Sanchez, staff writer, social media coordinator for the Catholic Star Herald newspaper. And we're here, Talking Catholic is in Williamstown at Our Lady of Peace Parish, once again with our good friend, Kari Janisse. Kari, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thanks. How are you, Pete?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us here. It's a beautiful day, and we're here in your youth ministry center, or what is the name of it?
So we have the youth offices. We're technically in the St. Joseph's room at this point, which is just connected to our youth offices. So we have a youth lounge and our office space there where a lot of the planning and coordinating takes place, and some of our ministries as well take place in this room and the room across from this room.
It looks very familiar. I see the Wall of Saints. I love it.
Yeah, thanks.
And you were youth ministry coordinator, director?
Yeah, the official title, the long title is Coordinator of Youth and Young Adult Ministries at Our Lady of Peace Parish. The short title is Youth Minister. That's it.
Okay. Well, again, thanks so much. And always, I'm glad to be with Mike Walsh.
Hey, Pete. How are you?
I'm doing well, sir. How are things going with you?
Okay. This is actually the third time I'm recording on our podcast equipment today, but the first two were for videos. So I feel like my day has been very multimedia today.
Oh, wow.
But I was very happy to get out of the office. We're not in the vault. We're down in Williamstown, which is always nice to get out. And it's also nice to sort of be in my backyard. This is all of about 10 minutes away from the house. So when we're done here, I'll be taking care of work at home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting out of the office, I just want to share a little experience I had. This past weekend, I was in Western PA visiting family, and then after I left them yesterday afternoon, I don't know if any of you are familiar with Frank Lloyd Wright, Kari or Mike?
Yes.
Sure,
yes.
of course.
Architect?
Studied him. I studied him in art history. I was an art major, and we studied a lot of Frank Lloyd Wright.
Then maybe you know this. Yesterday, I took a tour of Falling Water. It's about 70 miles away from Pittsburgh. It's a beautiful. You get off the Exxon Turnpike and you travel through. Have you been there, Kari?
I have not.
You have to go. You travel just through beautiful, Mike, as you would say, bucolic landscape. As you go under canopies and leaves But what's really neat about Falling Water is he designed it in the 1930s for a family that wanted a weekend getaway. And they thought, he'd do it near the waterfall. No, he built it on top of the waterfall. So it's really amazing the mind and the scope of this man to really put this piece of art. And it's the union of nature and art and beauty. It's really incredible. And we took a walk, my friend and I took a walk around the grounds. It was a beautiful day, a lot of people there. And it just really, it's still the same as it was. I think it became on the National Historic Registry only in the past 30 years or so, because his family owned it, and then the owners died, the Kaufmans died. And so now so many people see it, and it's still how it was when it was first built. It's got the tarnish, it's got the old school to it. And it just made me think, if Frank Lloyd Wright can do something that beautiful, and this is kind of tying into the theme of what we're going into today, just think of how God has created us so much more beautifully. And, the Falling Water, the structure, there's the main house and then the guest house. The main house kind of rises above the waterfall. And that's kind of like how we're rising above the physical world. And it just made me think how, and like the Falling Water, we might have that tarnish. We might have the different compartments of our spirit, of our soul that are there, but we still have that innate beauty. And I suspect that even if Falling Water didn't have all the tourists there, even if, I would hope that everybody who listens to this is loved, has family and friends that care about them. But even without the fame, we're innately beautiful.
Sure.
And it just made me think, I recommend anybody go to the Falling Water. I kind of got a little spiritual experience out of it that I wasn't quite expecting.
Yeah.
It just was really...
Yeah, he does beautiful work. I mean, he's well known with the architect. But something that jogged my mind actually while you were talking about this is also the order of creation. and the different days where God made the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the water, the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, all of the animals, and last He made man. So like we're like there to be able to be above nature. It's really cool how that works out. First the house, then the water.
Exactly. It's really amazing. Mike, you have to go too. A road trip. It's only about like 5 hours away, 6 hours.
Oh, I'm well versed in Frank Lloyd Wright architecture. Falling Water is one of my favorite structures in the world, and actually, one of the sad parts is it's falling apart. Unfortunately, it's unfortunately a lot of the Frank Lloyd Wright structures were beautiful to look at, not exactly sound. So that one of the things we're trying to figure out is how to save that structure.
That's interesting. I took, we could have taken the guided tour inside the house. But my friend and I decided to take just the walking tour around. It was a little hike to different spots. And it was neat because we were able to walk around the original house and the guest house and then different spots along the way where they said, okay, you can get your best shot from here. Like they knew where you could get the best photograph. But maybe I would have heard that part of it. That's sad to hear.
I don't know.
Well, but so I think speaking, we were talking about life and creation. Kari,
yeah.
What do we have coming up?
So
as this is Respect Life Month.
Respect Life Month in the month of October. So we're kicking off with a lot of really great Respect Life events. So starting, and of course we have to remember life from the womb to the tomb. So it's not just about saving babies, which it is a lot in our country, but it's about respecting all walks of life. And so we have different events for different walks of life. So coming up on October 6th, we have the annual Life Chain that takes place all throughout the diocese, and it's in a bunch of different towns. So I'm just going to list them here. We got in Atlantic County, Absecon, Egg Harbor Township, that is, Galloway, Northfield, Summers Point. Camden County, we got Lindenwold, Cape May County in Rio Grande, Cumberland County, it's in Millville, Gloucester County, Glassboro, right here in Williamstown, Woodbury, and then Salem County has in Pennsville. So there are different times. You can find those times in the diocese paper, Catholic Star Herald, all listed there, but they're generally in the afternoon. Most of them seem to be somewhere in the time frame between 12:30 and 3:30. It's just a time. I've actually have participated in the Life Chain several times now, and it's a time of silent prayer, witness to those that are driving by in the streets to life and to saving the lives of the unborn. So it's a beautiful way to witness to that.
Yeah, I attended one a couple of years ago, and what got me, and we did it on I think it's on this list. It's on 322 as you cut between the two sides of Rowan University.
Yep, it's exactly there. Yeah.
And now you would think that Rowan University being a very secular school, that there might be those who did not appreciate the fact that us right to lifers were standing on the curb with our signs, and never had any problems with any of the students. And I'll tell you, those cars going past, I'd say 1 in 5 were honking in support. It was really
the honks in support versus the honks not.
The honks in anger, yeah. So they last a little longer.
Yes.
But it was actually very it was encouraging to be out there, and as we talk all the time on this podcast, particularly in the last year or so, the importance of coming together for events where we shared experiences and where we can showcase the fact that we are together in support of our faith, and in this case, in support of the right to life. Sure. And keep in mind, the right to life is more than just not simply, but more than just abortion. But in the New Jersey now, it also has to do with euthanasia. It also falls under gun violence. There are a lot of aspects to the right to life that we can all support, and we should really think about how that importance of life, and as Pete was talking about earlier, about even just thinking about creation, how important that is.
Sure.
So if it's in your nature, and even if it's against your nature, but if it's in your will to come out to this, I hope you'll come out to it.
Yeah, it's a great event.
It really is.
We also have some other events too coming up. So one of them, the Feast of St. Gerard, is October 16th. And there's a big devotion actually to the St. Gerard, to the saint, at St. Bridget's Parish in Glassboro. Actually was in Glassboro as a youth minister there and as a registered parishioner there for my first few years in South Jersey and participate in this Mass several times. Having been somebody that was trying to conceive for a long time, I've prayed devoutly to St. Gerard's intercession. So I know this Mass well. It's at 7 p.m. It's beautiful. They have a relic to St. Gerard there, and it's a great for any women that are trying to conceive or giving thanks for those who have conceived through St. Gerard's intercession, or have even a devotion to him, or feel called to pray for these women and men, the husbands of those trying to conceive. So that's at 7 p.m. in the Church of St. Bridget's in Glassboro on October 16th. And we invite all those wanting to come out. Actually, a cool little story about St. Bridget's and their devotion to St. Gerard. So I grew up in North Jersey, very devoted to St. Gerard, my family. And the National Shrine is located in Newark at St. Lucy's. And I go there every year as well during the feast, because it's a 7-day long feast for him. And every year I go, and I only noticed it more recently going up the steps to the shrine of St. Gerard at St. Lucy's in Newark. There's a little plaque donated by the parishioners of St. Bridget's, Glassboro, New Jersey. I said, "Oh my gosh, look at that! It's so cool." So it really, the span of St. Gerard devotees is well wide by a lot of women, especially because he is known to help women conceive. So go to that if that interests you.
We did when we were trying to create Jack, and it was very powerful. So, sure. And it's certainly intended for women. It's good for men as well to go and sort of be there with your wife, your partner. Okay, Pete, what's up? Or who's up next?
I got one more here.
Okay.
Right here at Our Lady of Peace Parish, where we're located right now today, we're having a free service fair for veterans. That's on October 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It is in the Parish Hall here, and there's a contact here, and this is all on the website, but Rosemary DiQuinones from the Camden Diocese. So you can check all this out on all of the announcements we made today on the Camden Diocese website. But that is for veterans and families of veterans. They're going to offer employment, financial, legal, education, housing, health, hospitality, and refreshments are going to be available there. So we just want to invite out those veterans and their families in support of them and try to give them maybe much needed services that they can use and benefit from.
Absolutely. That's a great, as a person with a service member and his family, I'm very supportive of everything that we do to support the military. What else is coming up, Pete?
Well, we got this. I wrote something about this in the Star Herald, and for a few issues ago, the same old group once again will be it's calling all young adults ages 18 to 39. If you're wanting to go deeper in your prayer life, possibly receive formation on discerning God's voice in your lives, you want to know yourself, to know Jesus, and to know your role in the church and world, come out to the join the Samuel Group, sponsored by the Franciscan Sisters of the Renewal. This starts the first Sundays. This is every first Sunday of the month from October to May 3rd, and starts this Sunday, October 6th. And there's still time to register. You can call Sister Agnes at 609-343-1545. And you need to have a phone interview with her before being accepted in the Samuel Group, and then you need to have a spiritual director as well. But don't worry if you don't have one, because the group helpfully can help to find one for you. So I think this is great and
I just want to say about that, we've had a few young adults attend, and we have some more currently looking to sign up from our parish. Excellent reviews on it.
Yeah, I've heard some too, and I just think it's a good opportunity to come on out. And
is there an age range for it? I don't remember.
18 to 39.
18 to 39. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is the young adult age in our diocese.
See, Mike?
Which I'm still in.
Hey, I'm not.
I'm so happy.
I'm in full middle age.
Okay, on Mike's defense, it's not that I'm not a young adult, it's that I'm not a millennial. So there.
You are a millennial. Oh, that's right. Yeah. She's a millennial. You're not a millennial.
Wait a minute.
I forget some.
How is she a millennial? We're around the same age. We figured this out, right?
It depends on what your resource is. I found this out by my own research, because some is like 1979, 1980 starts millennials. Others, it's a little upwards to the late 80s. I'm 82, so.
I'm 82. We're January 82, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
I think you're.
I don't think it even matters to these people when our birthdays are, but hey, we're millennials.
Well, now
Yes. Thank you,
okay.
Kari. I'm going to use
Out of
you.
deference to our guest co-host, I'm not going to say anything, but Pete is a Gen Xer. So what do you?
Moving on.
No, this is the happiest day of my podcast life to hear Kari Janisse confirm that I'm a millennial. Thank you. I'm going to.
You're welcome.
You're making the level spike. Settle down.
So then coming up, this is podcast, Mike, we had with Father Rene Canales and Rebecca Hardy talking about the Catholic Renewal Weekend. That is coming up the 11th to 13th, October 11th to the 13th at the Wildwood Convention Center, 4501 Boardwalk Avenue in Wildwood. It's going to be a wonderful experience. Come on out if... be made anew in the love of Jesus through the Holy Spirit and Mary, and find a personal, richer, and deeper relationship with Jesus. So for more information, go to Camden Diocese, www.camdendiocesecatholicrenewal.org. Listen to the podcast, of course, which is just enlightening and awesome. And call 609-652-7729. Again, the Catholic Renewal Weekend for the Diocese in Wildwood, October 11th through Sunday, October 13th. And Mike, our friends at the Catholic Business Network, this is really cool. Coming up Friday, October 11th, Bishop Sullivan will celebrate the first annual Catholic Business Network Communion Breakfast, held at Holy Eucharist Parish, right down the road from where I grew up, 344 Crescent Road, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. This is going to be starting at 7:45, and he's going to bless the all the communion, the Catholic Business Network members, and come on to participate. And if you'd like to participate in the Mass in some way, as a lector, Eucharist minister, greeter, call Maureen Blom at 609-781-0471. And breakfast and networking. For more information, go to, you can call that number, or go to camdendiocese.org, and you can find all the calendar events for this. And also www.cbnsj.org for more information on the Mass and the breakfast.
And then 12 hours later.
Yes, the dinner, derby, and dance party. So it's a full day with the Catholic Business Network. This is going to be not in Cherry Hill, but in Blackwood at St. Agnes Church Hall from 6 to 10 p.m. Tickets are $45. Music by Kinney Entertainment. And this is all going to benefit Catholic education here in the Diocese of Camden. So it's a wonderful, wonderful event. Do you, Kari or Mike, are you guys into horse racing at all?
No, not really.
No.
Yeah.
I
I appreciate it. It's like the fastest 2 minutes in sports, when that pops up, for the Preakness or whatever it is. That's the Kentucky Derby. That's fine, but I used to when New Jersey, when our area had a horse track, I used to go to it from time to time. That was my introduction to gambling. I was very happy with it. I always put down my $2 bets on, win, place, and show.
Well, now where I grew up in Cherry Hill, they used to have the Garden State Park.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. And that was and now it's a Wegmans.
Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
everything.
That's where I had my senior prom, actually. It was at the track, as a matter of fact.
My husband's prom was there as well.
Yeah, it was fancy. It was a beautiful place. It was really nice.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, it was good.
I remember, I'll just say one more thing, baseball card convention. That's what I remember from that place.
Oh, okay.
All the baseball cards. But then, so coming on up later this month, the Sunday, October 20th, is the White Mass for physicians, nurses, and healthcare professionals. This is 11:30 a.m. at St. Luke's Church, 55 Warwick Road in Stratford, New Jersey. And there'll be a reception following. And come on out to just honor, I've been blessed and fortunate in my life to have family members who work in the healthcare field as doctors and nurses, and the work that they do, and even from hospital stays recently, I'm just blessed to know these wonderful people and be helped by these wonderful people who have taken care of me and others, and they really they just do good work, and they heal our physical bodies and our souls. So this is going to be also the presentation of the St. Luke's Awards for Excellence in Catholic Healthcare will be presented to Stan Zarnecki, Dr. Stan Zarnecki, Dr. Robert Leonetti, Lisa Papp, RN, and our own Father Robert Matisic, a retired priest who lives in Atlantic City. So congratulations to all of them. Come on out for this. Again, Sunday, October 20th, 11:30 a.m. at St. Luke's Church in Stratford, New Jersey, sponsored by Vitality Catholic Healthcare Services. And RSVP to Karen Fisher at 856-583-6123, or just call her for more info. So that is coming up, the White Mass, October
And to our
20th.
listeners, only 2 more ads to go. We're going to make it through.
I think one more.
Which is it? No, it's 2 more. You have 1 more. I have 1 more after that.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry.
We are
We're
doing well in the Camden Diocese with events. That's,
We really
that's
are.
a good thing.
Yeah.
If we didn't have these announcements, we would be a boring diocese.
That's
so
exactly
this is-
right.
Amen,
This is
Carrie.
good stuff. All right, bring us
I think
home.
that's great.
with
No,
you and Mike.
we have the priesthood discernment group is coming up once again in the Diocese of Camden. These will be for men, thinking about come on out and experience prayer, fellowship, and what God's calling you to do. This is October through May, and it's going to be here at Our Lady of Peace Parish. And it's 2 to 3 p.m., sponsored by the Office of Vocations. And Carrie, do you know anything? Are these dates Sundays?
They're Sundays. They're usually
Sundays.
Sundays.
Thank you.
They're here, right? Our Lady of Peace Parish.
Yes.
And they're in Father Maz's office, and they're run by the diocese. Though we don't have anything to do with it, other than we usually try to encourage our young men to come.
Okay.
But you know what? I think we need to have Father Adam Jaheski on the podcast sooner rather than later.
Sure. Yeah, he'd be the best one to promote it.
I think exactly. Well, just giving you a taste. So the first October 20th, the theme will be "This is just what priests do." The one for November is "Signs of a Vocation to the Priesthood," and December is "The Blessed Virgin Mary and Discernment Fears." So come on out if you're, as St. John Paul II said, "Be not afraid." Come on out and figure out, and just.
Or for that matter, be afraid and come out anyway, because that's the point of the discernment group. Is if you have fears or concerns, or you're not quite sure you're there yet, it doesn't. You come to this thing not because you're about to become a priest. You come to this thing to determine whether or not you have it in you, or maybe discernment means maybe not. Maybe you're not. Maybe there's something else for you. So it's come out and find out, but don't live with the question in your head any longer.
No.
So our last piece is Man Up South Jersey. You've heard me talk about this nonstop for months now, and I'll keep it brief. Come to Man Up South Jersey. Find out more at manupsouthjersey.com. There you go. Done. Deacon Anthony CEO, I'm sure will love that.
And listen to the podcast that we did with them. That's
we just did it a few weeks ago, so it's great. So, Carrie.
Yes.
Our guest has been waiting here very quietly and in a very lovely way.
You didn't even know she was here.
That's right. She was so quiet, like a little church mouse.
Wait, we have somebody else in here?
Yeah. So our topic today is on particularly Right to Life Month for the month of October. And who did you bring with us as a guest today, Carrie?
Yes. So I brought with us. Her name is Catalina Morales. She goes by Kat. Say hi, Kat. You there?
Hello.
She is a young adult in our ACTS young adult group, but she also has been involved in our parish since the time of her youth. When she was in high school, she got actively involved in our youth group, and as she grew up through the ministries, she came as a volunteer to many of our youth group events, and has a passion for pro-life with respect to babies and the unborn more particularly, but all walks of life, as all of us Catholics do respect life. But I thought of her first when thinking who would be a great young adult to speak about this cause because of her experiences in that field. So she's just been a gem to have around. I've had her give talks to the youth group, give talks to the Rock at the high school and middle school, and she's really, really great. So, Kat, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are in college, with work, and maybe go forward with a little bit where you're yearning and drive to want to be a pro-life advocate came from.
Okay, well, I'm Kat, as Carrie said, and I am in my 5th year of college. I just started my 5th year.
Super senior.
It's longer than that. I am 21. I'm going for education and a dual major of Spanish with a minor of psychology. So education is 5 years at Rowan. And then I have to stay another year for my Spanish major. So I'm almost there. a couple, like maybe a year and a half to go.
I was on the extended program too. You know, and I was extended for all the wrong reasons. You're probably extended for the right reasons.
Yeah, just the
Dual
Spanish major is another.
That's not easy.
A whole other story. It's hard learning another language and doing all that. And I also work. So I work with kids with autism. As an ABA therapist, I have been there for a little over 3 years now. I really love it. And, just working with children, I'm very passionate about, which is why I want to be a teacher, and bringing us into why I'm pro-life to begin with. Actually, growing up, I was never really in a household. I grew up Catholic, but just the going to Mass on Sundays and holidays. We didn't really talk about like pro-life or, pro-choice or anything like that. None of the serious topics. But as I started coming to youth group, I started to learn more about pro-life, and I became pro-life because that was something that you just had to do if you're Catholic, like you are pro-life. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I found out when I was about 16 maybe that a family member of mine actually had an abortion. And for me, that came as a total shock. And it started getting me to think what it means to be pro-life and what that kind of meant for my family. Like, no one knew. It was just me. And I just couldn't let it go, thinking that there's someone missing, you know? And
from your family.
From my family.
From your family,
and, today that child would have been 12 or 13 years old.
Wow.
And so I think, I could have been, helping them. I guess maybe they would have been in 8th grade, going, if it was a girl, 8th grade dance and all of those fun things, and 8th grade graduation. And that's something that I think about since then every year, especially around this time, thinking not only the person in my life who's missing, but everyone that never got the chance to live, how many friends I could have had, or how many people could have been in the youth group or in your classroom or anything like that. Just how one life makes such a difference, and that there are so many every day that don't get the chance to live. So
absolutely, yeah. I think the statistic right now is around 1 in 5 pregnancies and then abortion. So, generations after 1973 and on, it just changes from there, where we lose so many each day and each year in friends and in potential spouses and the person who could have cured cancer. Just so many lost lives. And when you think about it in respect to your family, that's a lost family member, and that definitely could touch your heart in such a way to grow your passion towards that. I could see where that sparked in you.
So how have you taken step? What else have you been doing kind of to get the message out?
Once I found that out, I started learning more about what it means to be pro-life and going into all of that. And I became very passionate about it. So within our church, we have in our youth group, we bake cupcakes every year for handing out at Mass. And I took on the role as baker. So
yes.
I am
of 500 to 1,000 cupcakes. Let's put that out there.
So I'm in the kitchen baking, and all the youth group kids and stuff, they decorate them and we hand them out at Mass. And I think that that's such a beautiful way to kind of celebrate the birthdays that they never got to have.
Sure.
And I always sneak one for my personal intention for the birthday that they never had, but
and they
really
have little
beautiful
messages on them about little statistics and being pro-life. We take a catechism message out on the sanctity of life, where that is found in our Catholic catechism, and it really gets that awareness out there. I think people don't realize that it's 1 in 5. I mean, every day, 2,000 to 3,000 babies in our country alone, let alone around the world, but in our country alone, how that really is just a huge number, millions of children lost.
It really, and I've thought about in my head, Kari, but when you said that 1 in 5, my jaw just dropped. It's horrible. And I'm sure you two know about the 2020 campaign going on, the Office of Life and Justice Ministries, and the diocese, or the USCCB, the New Jersey Catholic Conference actually, is with other pro-life organizations here in the state. For 2020, it would be trying to end abortion at 20 weeks by 2020.
Right. Yeah, we've been promoting it around here. I know. I got the cool magnet for my back of my car that they've been handing out through the diocese. Really excited about that as well.
Yeah. With the baby's footprints,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Very
and
cool.
it's a great way just to be driving around and promote the pro-life cause wherever you are. I mean, I have a Disney magnet back there, and I have my pro-life magnet. It's just that's what I'm all about. And that's really what it is. It's about promoting that, and it's a great campaign. It really is, and it's taking off. I know in our pro-life ministry here at Our Lady of Peace Parish, and I just did an event at Holy Family Parish, and I saw they had it promoted right there at that event. It was a parish picnic, so it is going around the diocese, which is really great to see our diocese participating in that, all the different churches.
And I know I've seen you and I think some members of your group at the clinic, the Women's Center in Cherry Hill.
Yeah.
Pray, and I think that's thankfully the last one around here, maybe, right?
Yeah, one actually closed. That was, I think, right on Route
on Haddonfield Road,
Haddonfield Road. I always confuse them over there. You're from that area. It's always just...
It's confusing,
it's traffic.
too.
That's what I think of Cherry Hill. Traffic and highways. But yes, one of them closed a few years back, and this one is still there. I've visited there very frequently with 40 Days for Life. I was a part of that for many years. Our young adults were a part of that. And we had a regular time slot. And on Tuesdays, I think it was at 10 a.m. That was our slot. But recently, I've been there when the bishop was there and been praying at those times, which is a very large crowd, which is nice. Last time he was there, I think it was last October, 2 cop cars come flying in, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, are you serious? The bishop's here!" And then the cop got out, and he was like, "Oh, okay. We realize you're just praying. Like, you're not trying to take down the place and bomb it or anything like that. We're peaceful. It's a peaceful protest. I can't even say it's a protest. It's a peaceful witness to the people walking in, to the people walking out. Because as much as we would like to put our bodies in front of those, as a human barricade in front of the doors to try to stop them from walking in, we truly, are not. We're there for witness, and we're there to help them. So there's always resources to guide them to pregnancy crisis centers, for free ultrasounds, for good counsel homes who would take these women in and give them a home to live at, and to find a job. They usually help them with that. So needless to say, we're not there to be barricading the doors down, although, in our hearts we're like, we would love to do anything to save that life. And on the flip side, when they are walking out, we're there to support them too, because there's a lot of post-traumatic stress. There's a lot of post-abortion symptoms that come on for women and men. I've seen a lot of men who have struggled in that, and so that's why we're there. Kat, have you ever been outside of the Women's Center with us to pray? I can't remember. No, you never experienced that. Okay, so yeah, we've been there. I know as a young adult group a few times. But Kat, I wanted to get back to you and ask you, I know part also of your drive with being pro-life was when you were in high school and you kind of had it out with a teacher or something to that effect. I got to get a refresher on that story. I would love to hear from you again about that.
So I have not been to the clinic, but I've been to a few pro-life marches. And my first time ever going to a pro-life march, my family, for the most part,
the one in Washington, D.C.,
yes,
right, in January.
For the most part, are pro-choice. And I was under 18. I was still in high school. Kari, you probably remember this, when I had to beg my mom. It's all coming back
to me.
For my first time ever, I had to beg my mom to let me go to the pro-life march. And it wasn't so much as because she had a different view. It was more so because of the fanatics and,
she was scared of your safety.
Scared.
If it would be unsafe
exactly.
for other people from the other side.
I was 16, I think, around that time. So I remember talking to Kari about it, and I really, really wanted to go. I was very passionate already by that point. So I made a whole PowerPoint presentation
for your mom.
For my mom to convince her to let me go. And she finally said yes and let me go, and it was a great experience. I tried to go back every year. So along with that, I did 2 presentations in my public high school about pro-life and about abortions. One was in a history class, which was our subject or our topic was to pick a controversial topic, pick a side, and then kind of give our point of view on why. And there was a whole list of topics, and I wanted to do pro-life versus pro-choice, but obviously being young, I was scared because that's something that's not...
More people in high school, they are uneducated a little bit, and they kind of go with the tides and what the world is telling them, and most of them say, oh, the woman deserves a choice, pro-choice, and then they don't fully understand it. So, yeah, I could see you feeling a little uneasy maybe about it.
Yeah, so I picked that, and I took the pro-life stance, which is not normal. People who normally pick that topic are pro-choice. And I think, honestly, this was the first time that my teacher had ever had someone pick that stance. So he was very adamant that I stay with that. And I had doubts and I wanted to change it. And he told me I wasn't allowed.
Oh.
Other kids were allowed to change theirs, but I was not. And he was pro-choice. History teachers, even in college, I've experienced they're mostly, against religion and things like that. Yeah. But
not all, but most.
Not all, yeah. But he really wanted me to do that, and he kept checking up on me throughout my whole project. I think he really was excited about it because he wanted to see where I was going to go with it and how I was going to go with it. And I think that I did a really great job. I think it was very informational for everybody.
Do you remember what you got on it? What grade?
I think I got a 90-something on it.
Wow,
I know I got
great.
I know I got a good grade. I was very proud of it. But something that I included, I tend to be a little more, not like harsh in when I talk about being pro-life, but very
firm,
and I don't sugarcoat it because, coming into the public school talking about it, especially in my class, I decided to leave God out of it and
in an intentional way, so that they didn't use that against you. Well, that's your faith, and that's not my faith, so I shouldn't believe that.
And now nowadays a lot of people are talking about pro-life versus pro-choice. And I see a lot of signs, I'm sure we've all seen the sign like get your rosaries off my ovaries and things like that. And it amazes me because they use that faith and they use that, you're believing it because God's telling you to or, stuff like that. But even taking God apart from it, just looking at it from just statistics and just basic science of what it actually is.
Right.
I don't think it's a religion issue. I think it's just a morality issue. Like I really think that
human rights.
Yeah, I really think that people are just opposed to it because they don't want to believe in God or they don't want to deal with religion or anything like that. But even so, like, yes, God created everyone and they have the right to live and things like that. But even if you don't want to look at that aspect, just the parts of science, when the heartbeat begins to form, it's about the third week that the heartbeat begins to form. And people don't even realize that they're pregnant, most women, until you're about 5 to 8 weeks. So that's why they say every abortion ends a heartbeat. And when you think about it, when you're 5 weeks pregnant or whatever, like I know I have people in my family that have had miscarriages. No one says, I'm sorry you lost your fetus.
Right.
Like you don't say that. You say, I'm sorry you lost your baby, no matter how early on you were. So I think that those kinds of things are very it's
they call it like a bipolarness in the field of pro-life versus pro-choice, because it can go one way one time and then go one way another time. It's a baby, it's a fetus.
If you're 5 weeks pregnant, congratulations, you're having a baby.
Sure.
Or if you don't
gender reveal,
if you don't want it
baby
though,
shower.
if you don't want it at 5 weeks, then it's not a baby, it's a fetus. But if you want it, then it's a baby.
Right.
So after giving this presentation in my high school, I decided I included pictures because...
Nice. And that's the part, though, I think that is missing. The pro-choice side does a really good job in hiding what actually goes on. And actually, the Unplanned movie did it, as harsh as it was to see, did a great job exposing that because it's so hidden. And I noticed that even being at the Women's Center praying, it's just... the windows are all tinted. There's really no signage, because what are you going to put on the sign, It's very, very subtle. It's very hidden. And they do a great job, like, keeping it unexposed. And I realized too, as harsh as it is to see graphics sometimes that makes all the reality of it. Well, wow, this is a life that is lost in a very gruesome, harsh way.
And I think, like how you said, the clinics, I feel like that's obviously intentional. But when you think about it, if it's not wrong, if it's not, wrong to do that or have an abortion or anything like that, why must you make it that way? Why does it have to be a secret? Why does it have to be hidden? And if I, were pro-choice and I decided to have an abortion, I wouldn't feel okay walking in. I would feel like I'm doing something wrong. I would feel guilty walking into some clinic with the windows tinted and just feeling like
there's even an escort that takes you from the car,
it's like some secret thing. And I think it's because deep down you kind of know, but yeah, including the pictures. Of course, I warned before. I'm like, oh, the next slide's going to be,
That was wise of you.
Of course. Yeah. But those who decided to see the next slide, it really shocked them, especially, the image I'm sure we've all seen of the little hand next to, I think, a dime or a nickel or something, the little hand. And we don't realize, exactly how this baby looks inside of you. It's like, oh, abortion's okay, but when you look at that, you can clearly see, like, that's a hand, that's a child. Yeah. So I think it really got people to start thinking and to start talking. And
good for you.
Thank you. The other presentation that I did was in my public speaking class. That was an informational speech. So there weren't any pictures or a slideshow. High school still. And I gave my speech on that and just talked about the different abortion procedures and the dangers of it, and also the horror that goes on. A lot of people fight for that second trimester abortion, but they don't realize what that actually does. And when you tell them about it and you tell them, like, oh yeah, like the last step is that they crush the head and pick out the pieces, then all of a sudden it's like a shock. Right. And well, this is what you're fighting for. Right. This is what, and I think that definitely the need to bring more awareness, not just why we shouldn't believe in abortion, but what it is in general, what it is and the procedures that go into it and the pictures and everything, because I think it's something like those pictures, they stay in your brain. And, I look at John Paul, who's your son, and just that face and just all of the kids that just never had a chance, and because of people who are unaware of what it actually is. So,
Kat, I'm just sitting here dumbfounded. I mean, your eloquence in this subject is mind-blowing, and your depth of knowledge is, and your conviction is just, I have chills. I really do. Particularly, I'm a person who very much lives in the secular world. It's kind of my nature for the job. And if you live this life in the secular world, like we all do, but I'm kind of extra focused on it. I find in this day and age that it seems like women are almost shamed into being pro-choice. And I'm curious, both you and Kari, as young women, how have you ever had to sort of push back against that shaming, that you're not holding up what the celebrities say we're supposed to be holding up for? Or have you been able to avoid that?
I feel as though definitely there is a lot of shaming with being pro-life, especially being young in high school or in college or, at my age. It's like, luckily in high school, I never, with my presentations or with any of that, I was never shamed for it. I actually got some pretty good reactions.
Nice.
At our age, most people don't know, so it was very informational for them. But as you grow older, a lot of my views are different because I'm a practicing Catholic. So I know that, yes, we do get shamed, but it has never, I feel like, never made me question my faith or anything like that with that aspect, because like I said, like once you see those pictures, it's like no one can tell you anything.
Yeah.
Like you know the truth. And an argument that a lot of pro-choice people say, my body, my choice. And I completely agree with that. Like my body, my choice. However, it's not just your body. So that argument for me is completely invalid. Like it's not your body. Like it's your baby's in there. It's a whole separate.
Aspect. If it was
it's a
your
whole
arm, if it was your head,
exactly,
you can make a decision over that.
But it's not
that part. Yeah.
Even like the little fun fact of like your baby could have a different blood type than you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a completely separate human being inside of you. It's not just your body anymore. And I always end my arguments or presentations or whatever with that same saying. My choice. And the most common phrase that you hear among women who have had an abortion is, I felt like I had no other choice. I always end with that because it really makes you think. Like they say, I felt like I had no other choice. And yet the whole the whole slogan for being pro-choice is my body, my choice. Mm-hmm. So I find that that's really interesting as well.
Yeah.
We're going to have to wrap up soon, but because we have a hard out coming up. But in looking at the debate and sort of like the conversation about pregnancy, particularly unplanned pregnancies that never used to exist before, you were going back to, I feel like the shame that there should never have been a shame of pregnancy to begin with, particularly if it's an unplanned pregnancy. And I think that fueled abortion, like when people felt like they had no other choice. And the truth of the matter is, in this day and age, and maybe this is a benefit of the fact of we seem to fight against shame unless you're pro-life, is that we realize that, pregnancy in all of its forms and however it may materialize. And while we certainly, as Catholics, promote the fact that it should happen as a union of a man and a wife after they've become married, but we live in the real world and we know people become pregnant outside of that marriage. We need to support the concept of pregnancy, that no matter what happens, we're going to be there for you. Whatever you need. Whatever we can do, whatever we can provide. And the Catholic Church has been doing that for years. Catholic Charity's been doing that for years. Our ministries have been doing that for years. And I feel like in secular culture that doesn't exist, where even though, I follow a lot of celebrities on my Instagram, and I'd say 98% of all the women celebrities are very much
outspoken about being pro-choice?
No, outspoken about breastfeeding.
Oh, yeah. They're all about that. You're right.
I mean, really, I never knew there was an anti-breastfeeding culture. I mean, I was like...
Yeah, you're not a woman.
That is true. I very much am not. But in my family, that was what we did. I mean, it was like... So we all did that. I mean, not me, but all the women in my family did it. And so I never knew that there was this pushback. And so I see that stuff, and then 2 posts later, I'll see the same person do a pro-choice thing, and I'm like... Man,
doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up in my head. I keep going but when I look at pushing a pro-choice agenda, it's completely nonsensical. But Kat, you laid it out in such a sensible, logical way. I don't know how anybody could possibly refute that. I know they will, but I don't know how they can. So anyway, but as we wrap up, any final thoughts from any of us?
I just want to say, Kat, thank you so much for coming on, and you and Kari inspire me. One of the things I'm happy to see, people seem to think that the pro-life movement is old ladies with their rosaries going, marching in D.C. and going to the women's clinics. But I've been fortunate to go to the last couple marches in the clinics. It's a lot of youth like you, and I mean, I will hope and pray that more young women and young men get as educated as you are with this. And it's passionate because we need that. We need your voice. We need others' voices to speak out. And you too, Kari. I mean, both of you are doing God's work. And I applaud both of you and keep it up. And I'm like Mike, I'm in awe too. I'm so happy. This is something that needs to be said. I'm glad you two are leading it.
Yeah. I'm just grateful to be able to share the pro-life message in any aspect. So I tend and just wrapping this up, and maybe this is helpful to other people that might be struggling. Where is my place in the pro-life world? For me, it tends to be, I'm not as in your face about it. Although if I was in high school, I probably would have taken that opportunity that you took, which was amazing. But I tend to, with social media, with my own life, in subtle ways. Like the most in your face I might get is putting the magnet on my car, and then if it opens a conversation up, I'm more than willing to have that conversation. But I'm not here to pick fights with anybody or try to draw dividing lines anywhere. I'm more so trying to say, how can I help the pro-life cause in my own witness to life? So small ways. I've even done that with my own son. I've taken him to the clinic, hanging on my body in the little carrier as a young infant at 7 months, and stood outside the clinic and prayed. It's not a way to say, look at me, look at my baby, you could have this, you could have this. Those weren't the words. It was just silent prayer. Here's a baby. This is what you're giving up. And so for me, it's in the more subtle, gentle ways to reach other people. If I'm called to, which I have been, to try to talk youth and other people out of having an abortion, I absolutely would have that opportunity and take that one-on-one time. But I try not to be like super in your face about it, but more, it's neat that it's the feast day of Saint Therese. She said, do small things with great love. And so in small ways, how can we share that great love of life in all walks. This Sunday we have at our parish an event for elderly who are homebound, and we bring them in. We do a dinner for them, an anointing of the sick. I love helping out with that because they also need our love in their homebound state to be able to have come out and have a meal. We help them off the bus. We bring them in. So all walks of life for sure, but the most vulnerable, the little babies in the womb who have no voice, that's where our fight, and my fight is in prayer as well.
How about you, Kat? Any final thoughts? You did leave everything out on the table. I'll understand if you don't have any.
What's your favorite pro-life thing to do?
My favorite pro-life? I don't know. There's so many. I miss the opportunities of being able to do those presentations and stuff like that. I think that, at my age, it's really nice and convenient to kind of like throw that in there. But I would have to say the march, I think, is amazing because, like Pete said, that it's a good reminder that there are so many other young people there as well. And like I said, just there's so many. It's incredible. Upwards
of 400,000 to 500,000.
Yeah.
Don't let them get you wrong what the news tells you. It is not
there's
like
so
100,000.
So many people.
But you know what? You were talking about that you miss the opportunity to make presentations. Sounds to be like we need to introduce you to Matt Davis, who is the new head of the Life and Justice Ministry in the Diocese of Camden. I think the two of you, I think you and he could come up with some great opportunities for you to give presentations. So I will forward this podcast to him when it goes up on Thursday, and make sure that you end up on his radar.
All right.
I think he could find some opportunities
there
for you.
There you go.
There you are. Well, anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for just coming today, and thank you everybody for listening. And we'll chat with everyone next week.
Remember, Respect Life Month. Just pray for the unborn and the aborted.
Absolutely. Thanks, Pete.
God bless everyone.